Hello, streamers, folks that are following us. I guess we're the streamers. You're the ones watching. We are here ready to do a show. We believe that Wesley McGriff will be hired, or the announcement will be made. It's imminent. So it may actually happen during the show. I let the bunker know with a little post there. Just to kind of give you guys, it's happening. Oh, my goodness. And also we made a decision, Bryan and I did, to leave Ben's spot blank there. We're going to go ahead and leave it because Ben is supposed to be on the show. He knew he was supposed to be on the show, but Ben, I think he's oversleeping or something. What do you think it might be, Bryan?
Well, I mean, I think young guys like him that have really nice skin and hair need the extra sleep. You know what I'm saying?
So, yeah, we're just going to leave it there and pretend that Ben's there. We may even introduce him. I don't know. No, it wouldn't work for the podcast, would it? Just a quick look at what we're going to be discussing today. We're probably going to lead off with McGriff since that may happen during the show. All right, it's going to happen today, no doubt. We'll talk about that and Greg Brown's departure. We'll talk about my visit with Alan Green yesterday, which I've written 2 stories about already. I definitely have a third one I'm going to write, maybe a fourth one. So some good stuff there. And we'll talk about the basketball game tonight. They're playing the hated Razorbacks from University of Arkansas. Bryan hates Arkansas, by the way.
I don't think I do.
No, he doesn't actually.
I love pork, to be honest with you. Pork is really good.
Isn't it delicious?
I love pork.
So that's a basic overview of what we're looking at there.
Okay.
Before we get started, I do want to hop on here and try to, and I should have done this before, get the chat window popped up so that anyone who's watching and has a question or whatever, I would be in position to answer those questions on the show. And my computer's running a little bit slowly because there's a lot going on. So, Bryan, your thoughts about watching Liverpool yesterday?
Well, it was an exciting game, back and forth. Liverpool had a bunch of chances they couldn't convert. A little disappointed it was 0-0, but they didn't give up away goals, so that's a positive. And when they go back to Bayern in 3 weeks, they get Van Dijk back at center back, maybe Lovren back at center back, and should be a better team.
And this has been your Liverpool Minute, sponsored by LFC and the Liverpool Echo.
We can go ahead and sign off now. I think we've got it.
You think we've got it?
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we're done.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, now. You're funny, Bryan. Let's see what else. Well, we got some shout-outs, too. I gave out a new title yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yes, to Torqued. For his undying affinity for Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Birmingham Iron. I should just say the Iron, everybody knows.
Yes.
His title is All Hail Lord Luis. Also, I think I'm going to be going to the bunker lunch tomorrow in Birmingham. Benny had said he was thinking about going, too. And I'm excited to see some of my old bunker buddies there, including Russ 47, who threatened to kick my ass again. And consider the fact that he is a Marine. I would rather he not do that.
Do you need me to come up there and take care of business for you? Yeah, I'm known for my fighting ability.
Yes, both of us.
Yes,
we're known brawlers.
Yeah, we really are.
And we had a good meal at Voodoo yesterday. We did not tape a show there because some dumbass, I don't want to name any names, may have left his recorder at the house.
Yeah. Shit happens. We had good conversation. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. I mean, we basically said who was going to be the starting quarterback, and we pretty much came up with exactly what's going to happen with Auburn all next fall. So
yeah,
sorry y'all missed it.
That's settled. Done deal.
Also, the lottery numbers for this coming up lottery, we gave that out on the show. But
hold on, it's 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
I can't remember anymore. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Those are the numbers from Lost. Did you not watch Lost?
Oh, well, my wife was into it. I sort of watched it. Sorry.
You know, I should have known that Yvonne would have been into that. It's kind of a nerdy show for nerdy people like us.
I watched some of it. I just was not into it like she was.
Because you're not a nerd.
Oh, I am a nerd.
No. You're a Targaryen. No. You're not. You like the...
I'm a Stark. And we just finished watching every single Game of Thrones episode from 1 to the end.
Like Robb Stark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just too all-American and basic. Like,
No. He made a
Richie
mistake.
Rich.
He fell in love. He made a mistake. I mean, it happens.
Richie Rich, who's asking us questions on the YouTube chat, wants to know who the starting quarterback's going to be. That's a great question.
I mean, if you would have listened to the rundown yesterday, you know that.
Oh, and on the platinum members?
Yeah, that's right. All right. My prediction is Bo Nix. However, I will share this that I did talk to a staff member a week or so ago, and his opinion is that it's going to be Joey Gatewood.
That is so interesting that you say that, because my staff member that I trust told me, not yesterday, but in the last couple of months, that there's no way Joey Gatewood will ever be a quarterback at a decent program.
There you go.
So it just shows that there's a disparity of opinions on that. I mean,
and it really is. I think it's pretty wide open. Although I haven't had anybody tell me that it's going to be Malik Willis. So, but he's been back up for 2 straight years. So
I know, man, but he has not grown, I think, the way that maybe they were expecting him to grow.
So it's a good question, but I really think it's going to be an open competition, and I'm not sure we'll have the answer until maybe a week or two before the season starts.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, we got to keep that quiet. There's Oregon scared. Terrified.
We're gonna have so much fun with that this fall.
Absolutely terrified. All right, well, we'll just get into this, Brian. I'll get it fired up. And for those of you following, let's see, Jeff and Richie. Thanks for being on the show there early. Appreciate that. And I'm sure there's hundreds out there who just aren't logged in or aren't.
Yeah, they're trying to get there right now.
They're on their 286 IBMs. They're trying to get there.
You know, that flickering thing is happening now that you mentioned.
Oh, well, I can fix that. And you're no longer flickering.
Cool.
Am I right?
Yep.
Attaboy. Joey would bring an athletic element to the position. I agree. Joey's he's a strapping young man. But my thing about I'm still not convinced, and I would wonder. I haven't run this by Bryan yet, but I still think it's possible they add a quarterback.
Oh, I do too, if the right one's out there. Because they've tried hard, and they tried harder than people want to admit or they want to admit.
I know, you know right?
They're trying hard without trying to appear to try hard.
Right. They're trying to be underground
even trying to send out messages that no, we're not really interested. We were just talking to them. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. We just wanted to know how they're doing.
Been there, done this. But here's the thing with the Gatewood. I have no doubt that he could run that power, quarterback power that Cam did pretty effectively. But can he handle things on 3rd and 8, right? You know, can he make that play?
Well,
can he drop back or roll out or whatever and make that pass? You know, can he do that? I don't know.
And somebody on the bunker, which I'm appreciative of this, put a video out of Mike Leach. And somebody was asking him about how he assesses quarterbacks. Now, Mike Leach is not necessarily the greatest coach in the world, okay? But I was interested to hear what he had to say about it. And he said, I want kids that are accurate from the start because I can't really improve accuracy a lot.
Right.
And Joey Gatewood's not a very accurate thrower. We know that. So I just wonder.
Right. So, yeah.
So Mike Leach has no interest in Joey Gatewood.
Although, I think his senior year, didn't he complete a fairly high percentage of his passes?
It's not about percentage because any smart coach can kind of work around the weaknesses.
Right.
Which explains a lot, or maybe explains a lot about why Auburn never threw intermediate last year. Remember, we kept wondering that, like, why doesn't Auburn ever throw to the middle of the field? And now the NFL scouts are like, why didn't Auburn ever throw to the middle of the field? Well, I'm interested to hear y'all's answer to that. Because we never got an answer. We're just doing what we do. Yeah. We like screen passes. Ryan Smith. He's really good. Ryan Davis. What am I saying? Ryan Smith. Because I saw Ryan Smith a couple days ago. Hi-yo! Hello again, and welcome to the AuburnSports.com rundown presented by Voodoo Wing Company. This right here is your favorite podcast for all things Auburn. You may not have known that, but you know that now. Yeah. How about that? Today is February 20th in the year of 2019. This is episode number 370 of this fine program. Can you believe it, Brian Matthews? 370 shows.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. And, well, I guess I need to tell you that there's a basketball game tonight inside the Auburn Arena. It should be called the Apple Arena, is what I think it should be called.
Named after for the right amount of money, it could be.
Absolutely. I know somebody with some Auburn ties that could probably throw a little money at that.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's this chick that works in IT. I'm just kidding. It's at the Auburn Arena tonight. Arkansas at Auburn, 7:30 tip, of course, because Auburn gets the worst tip times always. I don't know why. I think Bruce.
I will be doing a
mad.
doubleheader today, JG. Baseball at 2, basketball at 7:30.
Who are they playing at 2? Is it the A&M game?
Oh, it's another Alabama A&M clash.
Don't worry about that.
Well, I kind of enjoy it.
Okay, if you want to go, then go. But if you want to be a glutton for punishment, that's your call.
Well, I mean, sometimes with these games, I'll show up near the latter innings, which is what I did last night.
Okay.
That's the secret.
It was very quiet there in the stadium.
There was nobody there but parents, and I don't blame them. It was cold and rainy and wet, and yes.
Alan said he was going over there. Did you end up seeing him over there?
I did not see him, no.
I'm not trying to be a stalker.
I did not see him.
I'm not trying to stalk him, but I'm just saying that he had intended to go over there. He's a baseball guy. But before we get started, I better mention the fact that my name is Tate. I'm the publisher of AuburnSports.com, and I'm joined as always by Mr. Bryan Matthews, capital B, capital M, and a man who everyone from Winterfell all the way down to Dorne knows is a doer of many things. Be Matt, word.
Word. Just finished watching every one of the Game of Thrones, 1 through the end of the season 7.
Again, of course.
So I'm ready in, 7 or so weeks for the big premiere. So I'm excited.
I'm pretty fired up myself. And big reason why I got into Game of Thrones was because of you.
Yeah.
You were like, it's such a deep show and there's a lot going on. And I was kind of put off initially by the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing. Like, aren't there dragons? It's stupid. I don't want to see, orcs.
I remember all your comments very well.
But it ends up being, it's more of a political drama than anything else, really. It's just kind of set in medieval times. Anyway,
I'm most interested to see how Jon and Daenerys react when they find out their aunt and nephew.
Yeah, we've seen this before. It's called Star Wars, bro. Remember when Leia and Luke figured that out?
But they only kissed.
No.
There was more going on in Love Boat.
He was laying pipe. You didn't see that one.
Oh, okay.
That one's available on it's available on the internet. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm told. Jeffrey mentioned it one time.
Yeah, there have been a few Star Wars spoofs back in the day.
Spoofs. Yes, spoofs with an F. I do want to mention before we get started that our show and all of our shows are presented by Voodoo Wing Company, a place that we know well because we were there yesterday. Bryan and Ben and I were there to tape a show.
Oh yeah, it was an awesome show. Probably our best ever show. The bunker would. I'm sure they'd agree.
I hope Platinum members enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Now, the truth be told, that I forgot the recorder, which is the most rookie move you could ever do. 46 years old, and so we didn't do a show. So we ate and enjoyed ourselves and got ready for a show. And then at the very last minute, I said, "Hey, guess what, guys? I don't have a recorder, so no show." Anyway, Voodoo Wing Company. It was delicious as usual. I got the traditional wings because I like those. I'm kind of in a traditional wing phase, and I got half blackened Cajun Ranch and half Voodoo. Bryan got the traditional wings yesterday, right?
Yep, all Voodoo, and some fries.
Yes, they were delish. And Benny got the boneless yesterday, I believe.
He did.
He
got the Cajun Ranch, I believe, with pickles.
He likes the fried pickles, absolutely. So, again, as usual, when we go to Voodoo Wing Company, it's piping hot. The fries are awesome. I really enjoy those. I had blue cheese. I love it.
You like the blue cheese?
I sure did. I'm going to be getting it from now on. I kind of got it inadvertently yesterday, but it was delicious anyway.
And then, of course, Marge had our drinks ready as we walked in again.
Yeah, Marge might be she's the most enthusiastic counter person in the history of counters. I mean, seriously.
Even when she's having maybe a bad day, she's still enthusiastic.
Laughing and having a great old time, man.
Yep.
It's a great hire. That's a big one. She's big. Franchise player.
I believe she's going to be a good recruiter, JG.
She has been a terrific recruiter. That tall girl that works with her.
Yeah.
Why do you think she's there? Because of Marge? Need to get her name, probably. Although it gets a little creepy when a 46-year-old man goes, "What's your name, young lady?"
Hey, baby. Got to get your digits.
Don't need digits, though. Really don't. So anyway, Voodoo Wing Company is a great place to eat. It's super clean. The food is incredibly delicious and hot. Every time you get it, it's piping hot. They make it to order. And, yeah, it's a great place to go. College Street, 3/10 of a mile north of the interstate. Just north of the interstate, I should say. Just a little bit north of where the Supper Club once stood, where Jeffrey Lee was once pitched in a garbage can. He damn well deserved it. Voodoo Wing Company, voodoowingco.com. Bryan Matthews, as far as things to discuss, I think we got to lead off with Wesley McGriff, the soon-to-be-announced new assistant coach at Auburn.
Any minute now.
Any minute now. We may actually put the show on pause at some point to fire up our story on that. But your thoughts on Wesley McGriff and what he can bring to Auburn as an assistant coach back here again?
Well, number one, I think Gus really likes him. I don't think there's any assistant coach that Gus has ever talked about more than Wesley since Wesley left. So he obviously really respects him and likes him. Number two, I think he's a good recruiter and a good coach, well respected. I think the players that played for him liked him, and I think he proved that he was a good recruiter when he was at Auburn, although it was just for a short time. So I think this adds another good recruiter to the staff, and I think it's going to help out in Mississippi a little bit more. Marcus Woodson did a great job over there, and now you're adding one more guy who recruits that state really well.
Yeah, they should have Mississippi on lock, man, to the chagrin of Matt Luke and Mr. Moorhead over there. And they did very well in Mississippi this past year, although it was a great year for talent in the state of Mississippi, and Auburn got some of the good ones, went in there and poached a few. But Crime is a guy that's worked with Kevin before. Crime Dog, of course, Wesley McGriff, all one and the same. Worked with Steele, so there's familiarity there of what they're trying to do at Auburn, how to teach it. And McGriff, the only reason he left Auburn is because he got a guaranteed deal at Ole Miss,
right?
To be the defensive coordinator at $1.1 million per year, and that is a part of the reason why we were talking about on the bunker. I think it was on Friday, Bryan, that you and I mentioned that he was the number one candidate, and we expected him to be the guy. And here we are. It's Wednesday, and it's still not quite done.
Right.
There was a part of his contract with Ole Miss said that he was owed the money if he left, if he got fired, which he did, and Ole Miss still owes him 2 years. But whatever he makes at his next stop is deducted from the $1.1 million that Ole Miss owes.
Right.
So it makes sense that Ole Miss would want to say to make sure that he didn't get paid like $1 by Auburn, and then they have to pay $1.009 million. And so there was a portion of the contract that said Ole Miss had to be alerted to to what he was going to be paid. And
it's got to be market value-ish, whatever that is.
Right. So Ole Miss was just making sure what he was going to get paid, and it was a reasonable sum. And so whatever the overlap is, Ole Miss knows right up front what it's got to pay. So
it's interesting to see the development of contracts like this,
Yeah.
The idea that somebody would still get paid, but that will be deducted from the salary. I probably heard that the first time maybe 10 years ago. And now they're doing these things where it's got to be market. So like you said, somebody doesn't just pay him $1.
I was about to laugh because I was thinking of what Tony Barbie did to Jay Jacobs.
I don't remember that. Share that.
Yeah. Well, it was just like, I don't know anything about that. I just told Tony he can have all the money he wants. And Auburn just paid Tony basically a $750,000 bonus in addition to all the money he made at Kentucky for 3 years. I wish Jay had thought of that for Auburn's sake until now, right? I am told that there's a new university counsel, a gal that they hired from University of Oklahoma. And I think she's going through the contracts and kind of reworking them. Not the ones that are already signed, but the ones they're going to do in the future. And I think there's going to be some elements in the Auburn contracts offered from this point forward that are going to be kind of like that. They'll be a little more forward thinking.
And I also think it's fair to say Auburn's not going to be given these huge buyouts anymore. I mean, buyouts are a part of big college contracts for head coaches, but there's not going to be any obscene buyouts like Gus has right now.
Maybe. I'm not sure I agree with you on that. Because we're living in Jimmy Sexton's world, right?
Right.
If he wants big buyouts, they're going to be big buyouts, right?
Oh.
It'd be nice if they didn't do that, though. Of course, then again, if there wasn't a big buyout in this world, we'd be covering a different head coach right now.
This is very true.
There's no doubt about that. If it was only like 90% as big as it is right now, we'd probably be covering a different coach right now.
It's down to 26-ish now, so still a huge buyout.
I saw Gus yesterday.
Is he in good mood?
He, off-season Gus is better than in-season Gus.
Very true.
He's wearing his ribbed, whatever you call it, the quarter zip fleece.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I tell him the ribbed for your pleasure thing. I've done it twice now, and he just looks at me like.
He doesn't get it?
Was that a joke? I mean, he didn't even say anything. It's just like,
yeah.
I think it's hilarious to
get it.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so Crime Dog coming back. Greg Brown. Crime Dog comes in. Greg Brown, as you wrote on Friday, is leaving for Purdue. And I think it confused some people that were like, wait a minute. I thought Greg Brown was a big fan of Steele, and Steele was a big fan of Greg Brown, and why is he leaving? And it's kind of tough, B-Matt, to put value on, to kind of assess Greg Brown, particularly from a bunker perspective, because the bunker seems to hate the guy. But is it hard to kind of appreciate maybe what he was doing for Auburn?
Oh, I think he was Kevin Steele's guy, his mentor, so to speak, or his second-hand man, maybe a better way to term it. And I think he took a big part in game planning and making adjustments and all those things. I think he's a guy that Kevin really trusted to bounce things off of. So I think for Kevin, it was probably more of a disappointing loss. But I think, in Gus's mind, he's getting a guy that he really, really respects and thinks he can maybe help Auburn's recruiting a little bit more than Greg did.
Yeah, to a casual observer, they'd be like, wait a minute now. Kevin Steele runs the defense. Why would a guy that he likes kind of end up getting pushed out? That doesn't make any sense. But
Kevin's not the head coach.
Yeah, Kevin's not the head coach. And I don't necessarily think it's as easy as to say, well, Gus didn't like him. I don't know. I don't know the details on that. Yeah. But I do feel like, just as a casual observer from the outside, that could have been avoided, that Greg Brown didn't have to go. But he's going, and Wesley McGriff's coming. And for those of you out there who think that the solution to Gus's problem is to recruit better, and I think there's a very reasonable way you can argue that very reasonably, I think y'all are getting an upgrade. Because Wesley McGriff can recruit. And he's a better recruiter than Greg Brown.
When he has a talent advantage on somebody, he does what he did to Purdue. Right? If he had a talent advantage on the SEC or close to it, I think Gus could do some really crazy things at Auburn. He's done it before when he had good players.
And you think Wesley could be the guy to bring in a few more of those for him?
Maybe a couple, yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people even the people that don't like Gus very much out there, believe that he could be better if he would just recruit better. And on the bunker, we get really caught up on his play calling idiosyncrasies, and they are pretty weird. But there's a lot of people out there who feel like recruiting could solve some of the problems. You're one of them, right, B-Man?
I am one of them 100%, yes. That's been the number one problem for me for the past few years, and it's the number one problem to get solved.
Well,
and the hard thing is, if you're Auburn, is that Alabama and Georgia are recruiting better or as good as every other team in the country.
Yeah.
You have to play them every year. You're competing with them for the SEC West in Alabama and the SEC overall in Georgia. It's really Auburn's in a tough place, but, tough cookies. You're getting paid the big bucks, do something about it.
Yeah, do something about it. And this is a step forward in that direction, so you can't be too much of a hater about that. I'm not talking about you, Bryan. I'm talking about just people in general. Moving on to the next order of business, I had a long discussion yesterday with Alan Green, the athletic director. I put up a story yesterday about essentially, Alan's suggestions to Gus on how he can get better, and there's been a few. But one of them he mentioned to me was about the human touch, which is a reference to the creed, that Gus could be better with his interactions with folks, which, makes sense to me. I don't sit in on his staff meetings and stuff, but I could see where Gus could be a little tone deaf with people or seemingly uncaring, and maybe that has an effect on things. I don't know.
Well, I think you can also relate it to how he is viewed and how he relates to the Auburn fan base in general. And that goes back to fundraising and his ability to connect with the Auburn fans, and how quickly everybody sort of turned on him last year because he doesn't really have that connection like a Pat Dye did or like Tommy Tuberville did. Those type of guys that have that charisma. And, we've seen Gus have that at times, right? When he's off-season Gus.
Absolutely.
He can joke it up a little bit and have a little fun.
Absolutely. I tried to do that yesterday, and it's hit and miss with him. But the people in the bunker just can't. I think they've just kind of made it their mind that Gus is terrible, and I understand the frustration. But I kind of like Gus, particularly in the offseason.
Gus is a great person. Just as him and Christy are terrific.
Well, her more than him, right? Because she's
sure. But really they are good, genuine people. I believe that strongly, 100%.
I said that on the bunker yesterday that I really like Gus because when I ask him a question, I get an answer, and I don't ever feel like he really just lies to my face. Like if he doesn't want to tell me something, he'll just say, "I don't want to talk about that,"
right?
Or he'll say next question or whatever. I appreciate that, and I've had people ask me before, like, who do you like covering better, BP or Gus? And I surprise people because I like covering Gus better, and I like BP too. He's great, and he's terrific at what he does. But I feel like I get better answers from Gus. If I go to Gus with a question about something very specific, I'll get an answer out of him. Sometimes Bruce gets he kind of like, it's P.T. Barnum, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He
I
becomes
don't know.
like
I'd probably say Bruce just because I like Bruce is more open and
he is
talking
more
with
open.
us and having us come to things and do stuff
He is more
within the
open.
program.
He's the greatest salesman that will ever work at Auburn. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
he's
he is.
incredible. He's incredible. I just think Gus is a little underrated as far as that goes, but I understand why the bunker gets really frustrated. Anyway, talking to Allen yesterday, he did talk about how he thought Gus needed to be a little more human or focus more on the human touch, and he meant that from the Auburn Creed perspective, which got the bunker going. I wrote a story about that. I have a story this morning about the football facility that Auburn really wants to break ground on this year. The price tag or the estimated price tag is around $60 million. I'm told they've got about plus or minus 20-ish million maybe raised, something in that range. And I think
Now, do they have to raise all of it, or can they finance some of it?
I think they want to raise all of it. I think once they get to about 30, they're going to break ground and just kind of figure it out from there.
Right.
I
So
think
they're close.
they're reasonably close to getting to a point where they go and get permission from the Board of Trustees to begin construction on it. So, and I think they're going to try to build this. For those of you who are familiar with the football metroplex, so to speak, so you've got the complex there at the corner. You've got the indoor practice facility that kind of shoots off of it north-south. And just like where the kickers work, you know, that practice field where the kickers are usually working, Bryan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little bit west of the indoor facility. I think that's where they're going to put it.
Interesting. So
I think
opposite of the current athletic complex.
correct. I think it would run parallel to it. Just between it and the old complex would be the practice.
Of course,
fields.
you got the creek running back there, so they really got to work with that.
Yeah,
See, I
think
always
they'd
thought they would put it on the other side where the old bubble is.
Yeah,
we're currently
they've looked at that too.
Room.
They've looked at that too. I think there's still some ideas that are out there, but my gut feeling is that it will be there right against the creek. They're going to have to do some pretty serious engineering, I think, to work around the creek. But hey, you go to Auburn for engineers, so I'm sure somebody over there can figure something out. And they got to do something with the old track. The old track is just right now it's basically a storage facility and a parking spot for game days.
Games, yeah.
And they could turn that into something.
And me and you are both in agreement that we think a football-only facility is a high priority and it needs to be done.
Super high priority, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
right. I agree.
I think there's some I think there's some big money that's going to be associated with that project, and I think they really want it to be something special. Like,
right.
They don't want it to be something that gets them caught up with South Carolina or Tennessee. I think they want it to be where they're in the front of the SEC, in the front of the nation.
Well, I couldn't agree more. And to be honest with you, I thought some of the things they've done recently have just been half. Well, I don't know how to say it, but have just been,
What are you talking
let's just
about?
do what we can, right? We'll do this, and we'll do this to help finance it, and we'll just do the best we can. We'll put it together.
Funnel cakes? You talking about funnel cakes, aren't you?
Yeah. I think Auburn's been settling a little bit too much over the past 10 to 15 years, and facility-wise, and they need to do something the right way.
The problem for Auburn's situation is that the revenues really are leveling out for everybody because the SEC network was in such an incredible stage of growth there for the last 5 years or so. I think it's reached approximately the maximum market penetration.
Right.
And so I don't think the SEC money is going to just blow up anytime soon. I think it's going to be approximately where it is now, and they'll add a few million.
43 million is pretty damn good.
Ton of money.
I mean, that's incredible considering, it wasn't that long ago that, what was it, 3 or 4 million apiece? Something like that?
I mean, 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's when I started.
But I mean, it's doubled in the last 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Crazy.
But it won't double again in the next 5 years. It's approximately where it's going to be. And I think there's going to be some belt tightening everywhere, not just Auburn. People are going to be more realistic about, what's going on. I do want to mention to our folks that are watching on the stream, I did leave Ben's little spot here for his camera. Ben's supposed to be here.
Mm.
Ben is supposed to be here, and so I left it there just to remind you guys who are on the stream that Ben's supposed to be here. So,
well, Ben's our young guy, and he's got to get his full 8 hours, right? He's got to represent us. Got to be vigorous and strong looking. Got that hair's got to have that extra time so he can be full bodied. Yeah.
Full bodied is probably you're the first person to ever describe him as full bodied.
His hair.
Oh yeah, well, it's certainly long. I do want to mention that Allen yesterday certainly reaffirmed his support for Bruce Pearl. both personally and professionally. And I mean, I don't think anyone really questions this. The fact that prior to Alan Green's arrival at Auburn, there was a whole lot of discussion about Bruce Pearl needs to go out the door tomorrow. There were days that I would go to practice and they thought they were going to get fired that day. It was a battlefield situation. Apologies to Pat Benatar. And Alan Green got here and he kind of got the lay of the land, and within about 2 weeks was like, this guy needs to stay, and that's how I feel about it. And ever since then, the waters have calmed and Bruce Pearl's been gliding. Now, the team hasn't necessarily performed up to the standard that maybe Bryan, you and I thought they were going to be at this year, but Bruce Pearl has been supported 100% ever since that point. And so for folks who are supportive of Bruce, understand that Alan Green's got his back.
So Wesley McGriff is official?
And it has just gone down?
Yep, they just put on Twitter.
Okay, let's get that story put up.
It is.
Look at you. Did you just tweet it out too?
Not yet. It's got to go on the board.
Oh, okay.
Got to come up.
We can edit this out of the show, but those of you on the streaming, you get to watch this in kind of like real time, I guess. So we knew that Wesley was coming, and there you go. Let me make a note of this on the show real quick. Dude, we're at the 24-minute mark, Bryan. I still got like 15 things to discuss here.
Mm-hmm. We'll get there.
All right, let me know when you...
And it probably takes sometimes 3 to 5 minutes for it to show up on our front page. There it is. So.
Oh, it already did, right?
Yep, just did. Got to go on the bunker first, right?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Of course. Well, platinum board first. Richie Rich says, Bruce is still the man. I don't see how anyone couldn't like him. I don't think it's about whether people like him or not. I think it's about the baggage that follows him around. And the fact that the Chuck Person situation has not been adjudicated really to anyone's satisfaction at this point. I mean, he hasn't entered a plea. I mean, he hadn't pled guilty or anything. He's got a court date coming up. I mean, that's still an active investigation. And if you're asking me my opinion, I don't think it's going to shine back on Auburn at all. But Alan Green has to prepare for that possibility. And so I think another AD, let's just say his name was Jay Jacobs, maybe he wouldn't be as persuaded by that. He would be like, we can't afford to take this risk. I mean, Jay was in a weird spot, though, when this was all going down last year, because he was kind of a lame duck anyway. And
right.
And he wasn't really...
There was a lot of stuff going on in the department. I mean, just a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It was a crazy time if you look back in 2018.
Yeah, I don't think that people understand how crazy that softball situation was either. I just felt like some of the people in the bunker were like, well, I mean, she was of age. And I was like, it's so much deeper than that. Like, he's the coach. Come on. Anyway. Let's see if I got one from Bryan here. There it is.
Do what?
It's official.
Yeah, I'm going to add some quotes to it real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. I can take all this out of the show. For those of you watching the stream, this is how real life works, though. Usually we do this on text, but since we're doing the show right now, I can just tell Bryan, hey, Bryan, go ahead and post that. Just looking on the bunker here real quick to see what people are saying and whatnot. That actually worked out pretty quickly because I think Alan spoke to Ross Bjork over at Ole Miss last night, and I think they got that all hammered out pretty quickly. But it was a hoop that they had to go through, and it was unusual. I think that will become usual, but at this point it wasn't.
Okay, that's all updated now. And then, I mean, I'm not trying to, pat ourselves on the back, but we did say when the Greg Brown thing went down that we thought Wesley McGriff was by far the going away, the top candidate, and would probably be the next defensive back coach at Auburn. So he's back, and I expect he'll coach safeties and help out Kevin Steele with some other things, maybe be the co-coordinator or something like that again. Not co-coordinator, but something similar to that. And then I think Marcus will continue to coach the cornerbacks.
It's a heavy, that's a group there. Some heavy hitters on that staff. Moving back over, let's talk about hoops, not necessarily BP, just the team in general, taking on Arkansas tonight. The Auburn Tigers are 17-8, 6-6 in league play right now. Of course, they need to win out at home, well, at least short of the Tennessee game, to feel like to buoy these NCAA tournament chances. I mean, we both, Brian, I think, still feel like this is an NCAA tournament team.
Yes.
I mean, I do.
Absolutely, 100%.
But they've got to take care of games like this against Arkansas. Arkansas is generally not very good, although they did win at LSU a couple weeks ago. But they've lost 3 in a row, and they certainly have their share of problems. They have Daniel Gafford, who's a really good post. They have Isaiah Joe, who's a really good guard. But other than that, they're kind of hit or miss. Gafford
may be the best big man in the SEC. Very talented. He's going to give Horace and Anthony a lot to work on. I mean, those guys are really going to have to play well and try to avoid foul trouble. And we'll see. I know Bruce talked about Austin Wiley starting to be back and how he can really come on here at the end of the season. We'll see. I guess I'm a little got to see it to believe it now, kind of. But he seems confident in that, and that would be big if he could come back and really go head to head with Gafford a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Benny was telling us yesterday at the lunch, and if he was on the show right now, he would tell you himself, but as you can see, he's not awake yet. He was saying that really the feeling he got was that Austin Wiley is essentially 100% at this point. In if he doesn't play a lot against Arkansas, and you and I both expect him to work several shifts tomorrow, that it's not because he isn't ready, that he's not healthy. He's ready to go.
And I'm not trying to, argue with Coach Pearl. I'm not sure I'm ready to believe that totally.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, he provides some very important stuff. He's a great rebounder, particularly a defensive rebounder, and he blocks and adjusts a lot of shots. So what I found really odd, and this is a stat I pulled up earlier today, if I can get my hands on it here. Look at this, man. I forgot you don't see my screen now. In SEC games, Austin Wiley is 6 of 22 from 2, dude. He's a 27% shooter from 2-point range. That's impossible.
If you'd watch Auburn the last 2 or 3 games, him, Horace, and Anthony have all missed some really easy shots. They've just been rimming out, or they just can't quite get them to drop. I think some of that's just some bad luck. Auburn's going through a little shooting slump, but yeah, they need to finish better inside. Absolutely.
Yeah, Austin Wiley should never be under 50%. Not at his size and height and everything, and his skill level. Come on now. That's crazy. We also believe, or we suspect, or we consider the possibility that Samir Dowdy is on his way out of the starting lineup. We're not ready to report that, but we believe that Malik Dunbar is at least getting in serious consideration for that spot. I know the bunker would be very overjoyed to see that happen. B-Matt, why do you think they stick with Samir, and do you think they will continue to stick with Samir in the starting lineup?
Oh, well, I think they're making the move. But if they did stick with Samir, I just think because he's proven to be reliable defensively. He earned the starting job and has been Auburn's starter all season. So, as Pearl said, he likes to decide those positions early on. That doesn't mean he's not willing to make a change, but I do think a change is warranted. I'm not 100% convinced that Dunbar is going to take this and run with it. He's been inconsistent at times and gets into foul trouble and can make some silly mistakes and turnovers offensively. But certainly his play over the past week or two has been significantly better than Samir Dowdy's, I feel like. And if he can just maintain his composure, he could really give Auburn more production at that 3 than they're getting right now.
Yeah, I really like Malik Dunbar, too. I like him on a personal level, too. I think he's grown a lot since he's been at Auburn. Auburn's been really good for him. And I was skeptical of him initially. He's always been a real energy guy, but he was just kind of I thought he was a little too selfish when he got here. And I don't feel that way about him anymore. I don't see that from him. I will say this. I've kind of joked with him about getting into foul trouble. He's always said his attitude was, or he was approaching his job as, I'm out there to give energy, and I'm probably taking some risks on defense that I wouldn't do if I was a starter because I know I'm only going to play 15 minutes, so I'm not as worried about fouls. I think that he can, and he showed the last game where he played, 20 minutes in the last game, 25 minutes?
Started the second half.
And he managed the fouls fine. I think he only finished with 2, and I didn't feel like his defense tailed off. So I think he has a switch in his head where he can kind of become less foul prone and still maintain defensive intensity. I just think this coaching staff feels like Samir's a better technical defender. I think that's part of the thing, but I just think Malik gives you a lot more bounciness, and he'll swat shots that Samir can't even get to. And I think, It just reminds me of back when in the 2003 team, and I asked Shannon Weaver, who was assistant coach, who's your best defender? And he kept thinking, is it going to Marquise? Is it Derek Bird? I said, what about Kyle? Kyle was the center, and he thought, oh, yeah, well, Kyle's number one. Because Kyle, he wasn't necessarily a great technical defender, but he swatted so many shots, you got to say he was the MVP of the defense. And that's what I think. Sometimes coaches get caught up in a guy that gets great positioning and plays a screen well. And you lose sight of the fact that Malik's out there raising hell all the time, getting deflections, blocking shots, and he brings a lot more. So we'll see. I think Malik will be the guy, though. That'll be something to keep an eye on for sure. So the game against Arkansas, again, it's a game that they've got to have at home. I don't like the must-win thing, but Auburn's better than Arkansas, and they've got to go out there and show it tonight. So,
and I also think, right now Auburn's around that 8 seed right now, projection-wise, and that's a place they need to get out of. And they need to get out of it by playing better down the stretch, because you don't want to be in that 8-9 game and then have to play number one the next, 2 days later.
Nah, you don't really want that.
No, or it's going to be the same thing that happened last year, right?
I mean, the upcoming schedule is you got Arkansas at home this weekend. They're at Kentucky, and Kentucky's playing some really good basketball right now. Next Wednesday, they're on the road again at Georgia, which generally you think Auburn is a significantly better team than Georgia. We'll just see if they can consummate that over there in Athens, where Auburn's had some trouble. On Saturday, March 2nd, they're at home against Mississippi State. That's going to be a tough one. State's been better. And they hurt him pretty bad over there at Starkville. We'll just see about that one. Then you got Alabama away, and then Tennessee at home. So it's going to be tough there. Alabama's a weird team. They laid an egg last night, lost at A&M. But they tend to play Auburn tough at Coleman. So there are some challenges, which means you got to put even more emphasis in this game tonight. You got to have this one. All right, so that is our look at basketball. We'll move on to a few shout-outs, Brian Matthews. I know you got a few. Why don't you give it a lead off with them?
Yeah, and these are not the normal shout-outs we give, but funny ones at least. A special shout-out to Bull. His wife and mother were both diagnosed with cancer recently, and just want to let him know that our thoughts and prayers and best wishes are with him and his family. Certainly, and also RLN 2011. His dad has cancer and has to have surgery to remove his voice box and part of his esophagus. So both those guys and their families are going through a lot right now, and the bunker is certainly behind them 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we like to raise hell with each other, but it's still a bunker family, and I know those prayers will be going up. I know. I do want to give a few shout-outs. First of all, so we've got the bunker meeting in Birmingham tomorrow, the bunker lunch. And I just kind of want to give some forward thanks to Stretch Armstrong for playing a central role in getting that straightened out. I know the guy that Soho Social is a bunker guy or bunker enthusiast or friend of the site, I should say. So thanks to him, too. I suspect that Bo is great is playing a role behind the scenes helping this get this thing all set up. But shout out to both of those guys. Russ 47 is going to be there. And I don't really have anything to shout out for Russ 47 aside to say that I like him. And he is a Marine, and he threatened – he said if I didn't show up tomorrow, he's going to kick my ass. And he may kick my ass anyway. And the fact that he's a Marine and he's a pretty tough dude, I really would rather not fight him, Brian. He might be able to take both of us at the same time.
Well, I mean, sometimes you got to bring the Creed wall and do what you got to do, JD.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. I'm glad you mentioned the Creed wall. I got to get that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take a whooping sometimes.
Yeah, I know I do. He and Fishman. Fishman's tall, too. Those guys can rough me up, and I'd really like to avoid that. So I may be there tomorrow. Benny had expressed interest in going. I don't know if he's going to be there. Obviously, you can see those of you on the stream that he is not available for comment right now. I also want to give a shout-out to Torqued, who generally gives me hell on the board, but yesterday I bestowed upon him a title. He has been such an incredible supporter of Luis Perez, the quarterback of the Iron, the Birmingham Iron, and I gave him the title, All Hail Lord Luis. So congratulations on your title there, Torqued.
Nice.
No doubt. I usually have a bunch of funny things to say, and Russ 47 had one that actually had me in tears, but it was inappropriate for the show. So I'm not going to repeat it here. So you just have to deal with what you got there, Russ. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Voodoo Wing Company. Great place to eat. Great folks, Michael, Jan, Jenna, Marge, and the whole crew there do an awesome job. Thank you for your support of what we do here at auburnsports.com. And if you appreciate what we do, hey, stop by and eat with them. And let them know how you feel about it. Let them know you heard about us on the show. People do that all the time. I think it kind of creeps out Jenna sometimes because she hears about that so much. Thank you all for doing that, the ones who do. And I know Charlie Five. Okay, I guess I'll mention him. I know he loves some Voodoo Wing Company.
Lives right down the street from me.
No, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
Also a shout out to our friends at Lynch Toyota of Auburn, a great place to buy a new or used Toyota product. Listen, Paul Brockwell, a general manager there, he may be a Florida Gator, but he is nonetheless the greatest general manager in the history of Toyota. That is my opinion. And those guys are so well trained and they know exactly what they're doing. You go in there to get a car, they're going to take really good care of you. They did that for me. And that was before I had a business relationship with them or anything. I was just some dude walking in there, and they took really good care of me. So I can tell you from firsthand experience, Lynch Toyota of Auburn is a great place to go. Also to our awesome subscribers at auburnsports.com, thank you, and God bless you guys for sticking with us all these years. We have people that have been here. Goes to Towsey Tiger. Now, he's come back here recently. But, I mean, he was one of the guys that got started 20 years ago.
Yep.
Or longer. And we have so many of those. I mean, Will Collier's been here that long. Archie's been here that long. Dude, we got a handful of folks that don't post that have been here that long. Our longtime supporters, man, they stick around, and we appreciate you guys so much. And we love our new subscribers, too. But just thanks to everybody at auburnsports.com. Bryan and I and Jeffrey and Benny, we couldn't do what we do without your support, and we thank you very much. If you're not a subscriber, listen, just subscribe. Why not? $8.25 a month gets you access to the greatest message board in the history of the internet. The bunker is always entertaining, and it's a good place to get scoop. And Bryan and I and Jeffrey and Benny, we'll put some scoop on there. But sometimes we get some crowdsourced scoop, too. There's a lot of people that read and post on that site who know what's up.
That's true.
Know things. You'd be amazed, man. So check it out. Again, auburnsports.com. Guys, thanks for listening to our show. And we will be at the game tonight, obviously giving you a full report of what transpires inside the Auburn Arena. If you're there, say hello. I really stick out like a sore thumb with my crazy hair. I kind of look like I'm from Flock of Seagulls. Not a lot
I used to have people come up and say, "Hey, well, I'm sitting over there, in the where the media sits."
The people recognize you, B-Man?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, yeah.
Is it because you're silver wings?
Could be.
Or is it just your handsome good looks?
Probably not.
Oh, you're tall, too.
I am tall, yes.
Anywho, guys, thanks for listening to our show. We'll be back later in the week with a recap of basketball and whatever else is going on. Until then, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Oh, yeah.
Still went way over, man. It's going to be like a 36-minute show.
That happens. Well, we had a lot to talk about.
Richie Rich says, I guess I need to join the bunker. Like, tell me you're not a subscriber, bro.
Hell yeah, you did.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Just for the entertainment value.
It is. It's kind of a crazy place.
Right.
It's fun. It's fun, though.
You can get your Auburn sports, fix in a lot of places, but you cannot get the bunker anywhere else.
No, it's pretty unique.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. We wrapped up the podcast already, but here on the stream, we'll probably wrap it up there. Poor Benny. He's going to be flustered when he sees this.
Little blank spot.
Yeah, well, blank space. I wish we could use that as our outro music today.
Perfect.
A little Taylor Swift for him. He loves Taylor Swift. It's probably about his age.
It's 9:30. He ought to be about ready to get up, though, right?
How has he not answered me?
About time to rise.
What are you doing, bro? All right, anyway. Thanks for watching the show, guys. We're going to wrap it there. Y'all be good out there. Behave yourselves. And we'll see you next time. Word.
Later.